And so we'll begin today's Yin Yoga by coming to a lying down position. So coming to a resting pose on your back. And you could choose to have your bolster behind your sacrum. So if you do have a yoga bolster, then we can place the bolster lengthways and then resting the sacrum at the end of the bolster and then roll down super slowly with your feet together.
Alors,
Allowing your knees
c'est où le
to
audio?
roll
Stop
sideways.
vidéo, chat, record, reactions. We can't hear you.
I think
Oh,
someone needs to be muted. Let's have a look. Who might be not muted? I think it was Lawrence. So yeah, I've just muted you. That's good. Yeah. And hopefully everyone's in. So once in your lying down position, let's move the arms really wide here. And sending the arms outwards. And once you're lying either on the back or on your bolster, let's take a few releasing sighs to cleanse the week that you've had. So taking a deep breath in through the nose. Big sigh out. Long, slow, deep breath in through the nose. Big exhalation. And then one more. Inhale deeply. Big sigh out. And as you relax into your first pose, we'll be practicing a Pranayama exercise. So as we breathe in, we'll breathe in for 4, then holding the breath inside of the body for 4, and then breathing out very slowly for 6. Let's empty the breath entirely to begin. Take a breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding the breath 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out slowly for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Breathing in deeply for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding the breath 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out slowly for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Breathing in deeply for 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding the breath 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out slowly for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now taking 2 more rounds, but this time counting to yourself mentally. And then when you finished your last exhalation, allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm. And let's move the palms behind your legs, helping your legs to move together if you were hip opening. Roll to one side and come to a seated position. And with your eyes closed or half closed, finding your way into a comfortable meditation seat. And we'll bring the palms to prayer pose. Grow tall through your spine. And you could take a simple cross-legged position or even half Padmasana, so having one foot over the opposite thigh. And then once you are in your meditation seat, resting the palms in Anjali Mudra, thumbs connect to the heart space, Anahata chakra. And in this moment, setting an intention that really resonates. So it could be an intention to do with self-care or taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others in the way that you want to. And as we move inwards in Yin, it's a wonderful opportunity to self-care, to really restore our inner energies. So you could formulate a sankalpa around the act of restoration. And then once you've set your intention, have an amazing Yin Yoga today, everyone. And we'll come into our first pose. So let's bring your feet in front of you and have the soles of the feet touching and knees will flop sideways. This one we call butterfly position. So we're folding forwards over both legs. We can choose to move a bolster or maybe cushions from your couch or even your pillows from your bed underneath your forehead. Or we could have the bolster sideways and then resting your head closer to your feet. Or maybe you're using your feet as a pillow. So sometimes we may have the flexibility in the inner hips to rest the head onto the feet. Now in Yin Yoga, we value the function of the pose over the form of the position. So it doesn't really matter where we are physically, but rather the practice becomes much more internally reflective. So we bring our attention inwards. So finding a place where you feel not too much, but also not too little sensation. So we're working with not too much and not too little. And this is the first principle of Yin Yoga, not too much and not too little sensation. And then once you're in your position, principle number 2 is we hold in stillness and muscular relaxation. So we're keen to hold in stillness, for the stillness of the body brings a greater stillness to the mind. So stillness is a very important aspect of Yin Yoga, as we aim to bring a quality of stillness mentally. So we work with still positions. Perhaps we move and adjust our position if we do want to go deeper or to back away. But for the most part, we remain in the place that we're in and practice really becoming comfortable within that place, which is a beautiful lesson for life. So Yin, the practice of Yin and the physical act of becoming comfortable where we are allows us to energetically get better at being comfortable where we are in life and who we are in this moment. So what we're doing in a physical level really emanates outwards into all other levels. The mental and the energetic and the emotional experiences that we're having are affected by what we do physically. And then once we're in stillness and really practicing becoming comfortable within that place. Then the third principle is we hold for a long period of time. So the time is around 5 to 7 minutes in every pose. Now you can choose to practice for up to 20 minutes even, and some more restorative positions are really good for 20 minutes. Others, such as more intense twisting or back bending, then they're good around 5 to 7 minutes. Hip openers, really for as long as you want to be in them. So if you are practicing at home in a self-practice, then try to intuitively feel into where is the right amount of time. And this could be different for different positions. And the right amount of time is the place in which we've really settled into it. We've become very comfortable within it. And the breath is unlabored. The breath can be as you want it to be. So sometimes it feels beneficial to invite in a deeper, perhaps more dynamic breath movement. And I find in postures that work in the upper body or open areas of the chest, the more yang, more dynamic breathing patterns are useful. The breath is always slow, even if it's active, and we aim to make the exhalation a little longer. And this is so that we can calm the nervous system response. And sometimes the breath is best left on its own, so it becomes more yin. This is the kind of breathing we have in meditation. We simply watch and we witness the natural breath movement. Noticing the gentle pressure around the hips, and breathe into the hip flexors. And taking your last 2 deep breaths. Good, and in slow motion we'll release. Pressing into both palms, come to a more upright position. Moving the palms behind your legs and help your legs to move to center. And then take a simple cross-legged position for a moment in meditation. Bring the palms facing downwards to encourage our inner energies to ground. And take a deep breath in. Big sigh out. Whole body awareness. And now as we move into our next position, let's come to an all fours pose and move your knees backwards so that you can bring your torso forwards. And resting your palms slightly further forwards than the shoulders, and then outstretch the arms so that you drop the chest, the sternum bone, and the forehead to the ground. Make sure you rest your elbows on the floor, resting the entire forearm down here. And if you do want to go further, you can always bring your palms to prayer position and hug the elbows inwards towards your head. So that can make it more intense. If you find that there's too much pressure in the shoulders, then you could bend your elbows wider, resting your forehead to your wrists or even to the floor. Now see what feels good for you, but the alignment is hips on top of knees, so that you're really dropping through the heart space and bringing pressure to the front of the arms. So this one is a back bend. We're creating a front of body opening, really elongating through the arm lines of fascia, the heart and the lung meridians. And also encouraging the body to drop allows for the abdomen to lengthen slightly. So there's space being created in the belly. Bringing gentle massage to the inner organs every time we breathe into the belly. And the diaphragm muscle works against gravity. As you breathe in, breathe expansively into the upper body. And as you breathe out, sink and really surrender the center of your chest downwards. Breathing into upper body. Breathing out to melt and soften and sink downwards. Whole body breathes in. And whole body softens as you breathe out. Whole body breathes in. And whole body breathes out. And so we stay a while in this continual traction in the fascia, so the soft tissue component of your connective tissue system. And so the fascia both surrounds and also penetrates, so moves through many structures in your body, so encapsulating the inner organs, creating really unique environments for your systems to function within. Much like an orange, for example, when you peel off the skin of the orange, there's many different segments, and they're all encased in this kind of skin. We could think of the fascia as being the same. So it's like a matrix of connection, holding the structure of the body together. And at the same time, it's very much responsible for our range of motion and also our ability to change that range of motion. So the plasticity of the fascia can really be affected positively in Yin Yoga. Now at this point, if you're keen to mix it up, we can take a twist. If you would like to remain central, then always do. But by twisting, we can work more space into the upper body and improve our ability to take longer, deeper breaths. So bring your right arm under your body and press onto the inside of the arm with your body. So you're not twisting too much through your left side, but rather allowing your body to sink onto the right arm entirely. And then breathe into the back of the body, and so the thoracic area, encouraging the breath there. Good, and we'll switch sides. Bring your right arm forwards, left arm under your body. Rest heavy on the arm and your left ear to the ground. Good, and return to center. Then bend both elbows and round the upper back. And very slowly lower your whole body to rest on the front. Bring the palms facing downwards, resting one cheek or your forehead to the backs of the hands. Releasing any tension in the glutes, relax your legs. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out. Resting in whole body awareness, whole body mindfulness. And now as we come to our next position, we'll lift to Sphinx Pose. So bring your forearms onto the floor and making sure that your elbows are slightly further forwards than the head of the shoulder, just a touch further forwards. And then once you have the palms in line with your elbows, this one is Sphinx position, Sphinx Pose, or we could move the palms wider, so in line with the corners of the mat, and then lift your elbows. See if you can drape your heart space down and forwards, maybe deepening the pose by moving your palms closer to you. So it's up to you here how much you want to feel. Take a breath in to your back body. Exhale to really sink and melt and soften downwards. So we're creating an even curvature through the spine, no hinge occurring. So where the back bends in just one place, we want to avoid that. If you do want to feel more, walk your palms closer to your hips, straighten both arms and rest here. Still creating an even curve through the spine. Breathing in deeply. Breathing out to drop the heart center down and forwards. Breathing in. Breathing out. That's good, everyone. If you are in Sphinx Pose and you would like a touch more challenge, we can use blocks or books from your bookshelf. And if you have yoga blocks, then bringing them here. Make sure they're both the same size, both the same height. Then with your elbows resting on them, palms forwards or palms in prayer pose, see if you can again drop the heart space down and forwards. Just kind of lounging here, relaxing here in your position. Encouraging the upper body to really expand as you breathe in. And all of the muscle and the tissue relaxes as you breathe out. You may notice a healthy squeeze, gentle massage in the back. And you may also notice a gentle tugging or pressure or pulling in a nourishing way in the front of the body. But we do not want either of these sensations to be too intense that it creates more tension or it creates pain. So be it a happy medium, place in between, not too much and not too little. It's really important when we're back bending to not be competitive with ourselves. So if there's any ego or competition or wanting to do better or be better at back bending, see if you can back away and rest in where you currently are, more comfortable, relaxing in a more comfortable place. And then over time, the body actually opens and we go further without even trying. Breathe down through the back, through the kidneys, and to your lower spine. Breathing out to surrender all of the bones and muscles heavier to the earth. Deep stillness is so important for the mind. It allows for all the information we've been processing or storing to really be worked through in a very therapeutic way. So holding or resting lightly your attention inwards, processing life events, worries and fears, and bringing some space around that which you perceive. So the information you see in your experience and your reaction to it, there's some space between the two. And we create that space by breathing steadily and attending to the breath as the most important thing in this moment. Now taking your last 2 deep breaths. And slowly releasing. Bring the elbows wide and in slow motion bring yourself to a lying down position. You can choose to move to child's pose if you need that straight away, or resting on the front. Take a deep breath into the lower spine. Big sigh out. Whole body awareness. Now, as we move from here, press into both palms and very mindfully slide your hips back towards your heels, moving your knees wide. Bring your feet together and sinking the sit bones back towards your heels here. Reach the palms forwards and release into child's position. Breathe through the kidneys, through the point where the kidneys lie, so the physical location just behind your lower ribs, and then also the energetic location in the lumbar spine, just below the lower ribs. Now to move into our next position, which will be a wide knee, child's pose twist. We're going to move sideways and even prop your jumpers or maybe a scarf or something soft under your knees if you feel any knee pain. So turning sideways so you have your mat, you could move maybe the mat into a fold here and then working with your knees on the fold. See how your knees feel and move your knees as wide as possible. And then once you have the knees quite wide, bring your big toes together. And they're as wide as you can go, but then move them slightly inwards, just a millimeter, because they can get quite intense. So let's bring your right arm under your left arm, but then move your left hand to the left and keep sliding your right arm to the left until you're in a lateral bend, you're closer to your left thigh, and then roll your right shoulder to the ground. Right ear rests on the floor. You can have your left arm in front of your face or move the arm behind you, turn the palm back, and then thread the arm behind your back. So this one is a wide knee child's pose twist. And we're working in the line of the inner right thigh. So the inner right leg may feel a sensation here. If it feels too much, then just move your knees closer together. But keep in the lateral bend as well as the twist. And hopefully that is clear. So we slide really quite far to the left side. Then we roll your right shoulder downwards. Then left arm comes behind you. You could also catch hold of t-shirt or the inside of the waistband of your trouser. See what feels good. If you can reach the inside of your right thigh, then catching hold of the inner thigh here. As you breathe into right side waist, right side of the hips, and down the inner right leg. Breathing into the belly. Navel expands as you breathe in. And everything softens and sinks as you breathe out. This pose is supporting our liver chi, as well as improving the kidney chi. Very nourishing position for the body, especially in winter time. And this pose also supports the heart and the lung chi. Now, at any point, feel free to release early. We have 5 more deep breaths. As you breathe in, breathe more space into your back body. As you breathe out, see if you can breathe out into the earth, breathing out into the ground. And once you've finished your last few breaths here, return to center by pressing your hand down, raise to the center. You may choose to move your knees closer or to move them wider. And if you need a breather, you can always stretch the legs. Then we go into our second side. So let's bring your left arm under your right arm and then move your right hand to the right more. Slide towards your right knee with your left shoulder. Roll the left shoulder to the ground. Then bring your left ear to the floor. Make sure there's space for you to rest your head forwards of your arm. And you can always bring your right arm behind you, turn the palm back and catch hold of the inside of the left leg. Make sure big toes are close together. And grabbing hold of t-shirt or waistband or the inside of your left thigh. And then relax every muscle. Whole body sinks. Take a deep breath in. Slow breath out to melt and to surrender downwards. Notice a continual pressure or ache around the areas we're compressing. The legs, the hips, the underarm. All of these areas we're stimulating, much like acupressure, pressing on meridian lines to enliven the chi flow. See if you can close your eyes and rest really effortlessly inside yourself. Just how effortless can you get? How much can you let go of in this position? Allowing everything to be there. Breathe into everything you feel. If it becomes too much at any point, feel free to release early. You can always rest in the center. And we have 5 more deep breaths. Good, and now in slow motion release, pressing into both palms and move your knees very mindfully towards the center. And then stretch back through one leg. Maybe your body complains as you move. Feel free to do a scream. And then straighten through one leg and releasing the foot by flexing through that foot. Releasing the back of the knee, the front of the hip. enlivening chi flow and circulation, so blood flow into that leg. And then alternate legs, flexing through the opposite foot. And come to a seated position for a meditation, just to feel into the effect of that long held position. Resting palms facing downwards for greater grounding, or you could face the palms upwards to enliven your inner energies. And take a deep breath in, big sigh out. Whole body awareness. Good, and now to move into our next position, we'll be working into a twist. So it will be a twist seated. Grab hold of maybe blocks or books and come to sit on something. So when you have something under your seat, it does make it easier. You can also just sit on the ground. That's totally fine to do for this next pose. It may just make it easier if you have a corner of a cushion or a folded blanket under you, even something very small. Straighten your legs in front of you and bend your right leg, bringing the right foot over your left leg, but placing the foot flat on the ground. And then as you lean to your left side, bend your left leg to the right. Sit back on both glutes. Make sure both glutes are firmly on the floor. And as you breathe in, raise your left arm. And as you breathe out, twist through your body, catch hold of your right leg, hug it towards you, and place your right fingers on the floor behind you. So behind the sacrum. And you could choose to move your blocks if you do not feel enough. Another way that we can deepen this position is by moving your arm over. So placing the arm over the outside of the leg. And then we can rest the palm to the heart space. So that's a bit more yin-like, hopefully you can see that. Or we could even catch hold of the knee, or some people catch the foot, but that's quite intense. So quite an intense bind. Or just raising your hand and resting it in the air. Now having the head in line with the heart space, so you're not twisting too much the entire time through the neck, but actually you can use the head to twist to the fullest, engage the body, and then allow your body to relax into a more yin-like state. And the heart and the head are more in line when you found your fullest range of motion and you're then ready to relax. As you breathe into the lower abdomen. Really encouraging the breath to move into lower abdomen. Notice the gentle compressive squeeze in the abdomen and the lower belly. So the place of your Svadhisthana chakra, the seat of your creativity and your sensuality and the ability to flow, so to go with the flow of life, which corresponds with the water element. Breathe into the back, breathing into the thoracic cavity, really expanding the breath into the thoracic spine. Become as effortless as you can, just resting as effortlessly as possible. And the more you relax, you may notice this continual tugging, pulling, a gentle traction through the outer hip, down the outer leg, stimulating the gallbladder chi and the health of your gallbladder meridian line. Relaxing the face, relaxing the jaw. And we have 3 more very slow, deep breaths. Now to slowly release. Release your arm and just allow your body to move back to center in a very natural way. Then counter twist by moving your right arm to the inside of right leg. Press the arm in a more yang, more active way. And then come back to center. And release your right leg, the area we've been working along the right leg, with perhaps a gentle shake. Come to a meditation seat. Feel into the work we just did, taking a deep breath in. Big sigh out. Whole body awareness. Good. And now we'll move to the opposite side. So lengthen through both legs, and you can sit on your blocks. Bend your left knee, bring the foot over right leg, and then lean slightly so that you can bend your right knee, bringing the foot towards your left hip. Make sure that both glutes are grounded, either on support or on the floor, and this foot is flat. Take a breath in to raise your right arm. And as you breathe out, twist through the body, catch hold of the leg that's in front of you, draw it towards you, and place left fingers behind you. So this helps support you as you move into the fullest expression. And you can also choose to go further by moving your elbow over outer left leg. Palm can be in the air, or palm resting on the heart space. And you can choose to move into the fullest range of motion by engaging your body, even allowing the head to turn so you get to the place where you can go no further. And then come to a very yin-like space where you allow the head to be more in line with the heart space. And you rest more effortlessly there. Moving all of your attention inwards, withdrawing your attention inwards. Feel into the subtle sensations. They may be different to the opposite side. Any sensations of gentle pressure in the abdomen, gentle massage in your lower belly as you breathe into the belly. Any building sensation on the outer hip and outer leg. Maybe this occurs after holding for 1 or 2 minutes. Notice your inner energies today. Are they moving? Are they spiraling, dancing, or are they quite still? Is there distraction mentally, or is the mind clear and still? Our inner energies and our mind are very much a reflection or a result of the space of the heart and the energy of the heart, how the heart feels. Whether the heart is settled or unsettled, whether the heart is open or closed energetically. And so we practice these positions to really open our heart space, to ground our inner energies, and to settle the easily disturbed heart energy. So that when the heart is undisturbed, when we can rest in a very open-hearted space, then the mind and our energies become more coherent. Breathing into the heart space. And slowly, as you breathe into the heart space, these areas can unlock and receive energy, chi, prana. And now taking your last 2 very slow, deep breaths. And in slow motion, releasing your arm, allow your body to return to center naturally. Bring your arm over your leg and use that pressure to counter twist. And then returning to center and give your leg a stretch and maybe a shake. And then come to a meditation seat. And feel into everything we worked into in that twist. A very powerful way of opening the spine and unlocking areas that perhaps are stagnant or locked. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out. Whole body awareness. And now as we move into our hip opening, let's come to either the usual hip opener that we do, which is our sleeping swan, or we could remain seated and practice a very intense hip opener. I can always demonstrate that in just a second. But the first one I'm going to demonstrate is from all fours. Slide your right knee to your right wrist. Swivel the toes towards your left hip and slide your left toes backwards. Then come to your forearms and resting all the way downwards. You may find that there's space behind your glute, so you may be here and feeling a lot. Then a good pose to do is to lean sideways, come to sit on your right glute, bend your left knee at a 90-degree angle, move your right foot as far forwards as you want to. You do feel more if you go to the 90-degree angle here, and then bring your forearms over your shin. This is a really juicy opening for the outer leg and the outer glute, called deer position. So this one is a great one to do if you are kind of new to hip opening, or if you would like to practice an even more intense hip opening. Then we can use our blocks or no blocks. And bring your right leg over left, and then bend left leg to the right, but this time we drop both knees forwards. Shimmy your knees close to the center. And then to go forwards, you fold very slowly. Maybe you hang out on your hands for a few moments, or you could come to your forearms or resting the forehead down. So this one is a double whammy. So we have both of the legs in external rotation. Feet move back towards your hips. Top of the feet point towards the ground. That's good. And so in your chosen hip opener, take a deep breath into all you're feeling. And a sigh, or maybe a yummy sound can really help. Breathing in deeply. Breathing out. And so Buddhist teachings teach of the art of becoming conscious or present, really, to the now, the present moment, the only moment that exists. And so by coming to the present moment, we essentially leave behind all of our delusions, all of the ways in which the mind tries to make the present moment anything other than it is. And so when we drop all of our delusions and really and truly land in the present moment, we're essentially taking responsibility for our lives, for who we are and where we are in that moment. And it means also that we align with life. So to be in alignment with life means we can actually flow with it in a much more easeful manner. So when we say yes to what is, what currently is, who we are and where we are, then we have the opportunity to flow forwards in whatever direction our heart desires. And so ultimately, and Eckhart Tolle mentions this, ultimately, we are not taking responsibility for life until we take responsibility for this moment. Because now, this moment is the only place where life can be found. And so when we practice yoga, we drop all of the illusions, delusions of self and separateness, perhaps the egoic mind's delusions about identity, name, who we are, where we are, whether it's a story, maybe we're telling a story to ourselves. This is good or this is bad. We practice dropping all of that to rest in what currently is. Resting in the actuality of the moment, the authentic self, the being or the presence inside that has no name, it has no story, it just is our pure consciousness. And taking your last 2 very slow, deep breaths. And now in slow motion, we'll release. So we're going to slide your left leg behind you and come to a child's pose if you were resting on the front. Or if you're sitting, then you could meditate. So coming to a meditation seat. And taking a deep breath in. Big sigh out. Whole body awareness. Whole body mindfulness. And then let's come to the second side of the pose that you are practicing. So we could slide your left knee to your left wrist and then swivel your toes towards the right hip and slide your right toes behind you, sinking back into your left glute, or come to your forearms, or even working into your deer position. So if you're more here, then we can Slowly move to your left glute, bend the right leg, and then move your left foot forwards. That's good. And then you fold over your shin. And here is essentially quite a lot of pressure on the outer leg and outer glute. So this is great for the gallbladder chi. And the gallbladder chi works in unison with the liver chi, part of the wood element. If you're practicing the seated variation, left leg goes over, right leg bends under, and shimmy your knees close towards you. And then having the top of the feet back and also facing towards the ground. So the soles of the feet are upwards more. And then as you fold forwards, palms can rest or elbows may rest on blocks or the floor. Or even your forehead could rest on the block. And then once in your position, breathing down and in, following the path of the breath down your body so that it becomes the most interesting thing that's happening in your experience. The mind can get so caught up in being interested about our conceptual idea of self, the idea of who we are and where we are, and if we're not in a place that we want to be in. And so as we practice yoga, we rest as effortlessly as possible beyond the content of the mind. See if you can practice going beyond the content. It's allowed to be there, and it will always be there, but in many ways, the more we practice allowing ourselves to be as we are, the more we realize that that's actually not the self that we are. So there's a two-step process really: acceptance of the present moment, and then going beyond that idea of self to find out the space, the presence, the field of attention that we are bringing to our thoughts is actually ourself. So we are not the content of the mind, but we are the one who is aware of the content of the mind. Who is that person? Who is that spirit being? Who is the one listening to all of your thoughts? And that's you. That's the truest you. And Eckhart Tolle shares this story of when he was at his lowest point in life. And he said to himself, I cannot live with myself anymore. And then he realized that sentence was so funny. He was like, I cannot live with myself. So that means there's two of us trying to live together. There's an I and there's a myself. And then in that moment, he realized that the myself was this mind-made me that he had created. The self, and everything he thought about himself was the person he was trying to live with. But then he realized that the I, who was trying to live with that self, was actually the truest self. So he just returned to the I, the watcher, the witness, through meditation, continuously returning to being that witness, dissolving slowly the ideas of self and myself that he couldn't live with, meant that he could then live more freely. Oh, I love that story. It's so inspirational. Taking your last 2 deep breaths. And now in slow motion, releasing from your hip opening and slide your leg behind you. Or shaking out both legs in front if you are seated. And then come to a lying down position, resting in Shavasana as we move into our final relaxation. Allow your palms to rest a little away from the sides of the body, allowing the fingers to naturally curl and to relax. Allow your feet to flop sideways. And taking a final deep breath in. Big sign. Whole body awareness. Whole body rests in total passivity. Whole body relaxes. Resting all of your attention inwards. Withdraw deep inside yourself. In order to enhance the connection with your I, with your watching, witnessing being. Reconnection to the self within. In this moment, connecting with your intention, holding your intention to mind, or setting a new intention for the rest of your evening. We'll make small movements in your fingers and your toes, and hug your knees inwards. Roll to your right side and come to a seated position. Bring the palms to prayer pose, Anjali Mudra. Thumbs resting at the center of the heart, Anahata. Take a deep breath in. Big cleansing sign. Ah. Raising your thumbs to the third eye, breathing in deeply. Exhale to fold forwards. And staying folded for as long as you want to feel the effects. Namaste. Namaste to all of you, and